I want to thank everybody for continuously coming every single day, listening to the podcast, Affirmations for Recovery. This message is sponsored by Al, the new app for today's working entrepreneur, man. Make sure you download this app in the App Store, OWWLL, and use my referral code, EA. Get you $10, make your first call. Let's go. Let's continue to grow. Again, go to your App Store, OWWLL, and thank me later.
The next time I tried to stop, I did it on my own, and that didn't end well. I was seeing things. It was like people were in my house, like smoking and cooking dinner. And yeah, so he rushed me then to the hospital. I didn't come out of that for like 2 weeks. They weren't really even sure if I was going to.
Yes, I'm super excited because us in recovery, we make this world go round. We're the most resilient people. We're the most hardworking people. So I just love hearing everybody's story because I get my therapy from that too. Just being honest, right? So I got a great guest today, Miss Jen. She actually connected with Ocean Tree Creative. So shout out to Ocean Tree because they always putting in the work. They behind the scenes making sure we have quality guests, a quality podcast. So shout out to Ocean Tree Creative. Yes. And Jen, and shout out to Jen too for being a guest today. So Jen, tell my people a little bit about you. Who are you? Where you come from?
Yes. Hi, I am Jen Alai. I originally come from New Jersey, so I grew up there. I moved up. Right now, I'm currently in Pennsylvania. Lived here about 25 years.
Okay. You don't even look 25.
Thank you. So I've been up here about 25 years. So a little bit about me. I am in recovery from alcohol for 5 years now. Thank you.
Big. Okay.
Yes. I didn't get into the addiction world actually until I was in my 30s. I didn't drink until then.
Okay.
So I know a lot of stories start with like a younger, maybe, addiction starting younger in your life. But I'm someone who, I did this in my 30s into my early 40s.
Damn.
And, yeah. So that was something that was kind of like a surprise.
So I got a question. I already got my first question.
Okay.
What led? I mean, like, if you was able to get all the way through your teenage years, high school, 20s, why pick up drinking at 30 or abusing it? I should say. It's nothing wrong with having a little alcohol here and there, but what led to the abuse?
No, there's not. And I think what happened was I just started, first of all, drinking, go as like a casual thing, social thing. We moved to a new neighborhood. I was going to like wine fests were real popular back then. I didn't even like it at first. I just liked the sweet stuff, and I didn't like anything like, ugh. But it so just happened that I was also at a time in my life where I was having a lot of anxiety around some issues, both work and personal life. And I think because I always had high anxiety from the youngest age I can remember. And I never dealt with that. Now looking back, healthy, I didn't see anybody for it therapy wise, to the point where it was sometimes just totally like paralyzing. And so I did some other behaviors throughout the years. Like I did go through like kind of an eating disorder, anorexia earlier on in my 20s, early 30s. And so this just happened to be, as I started drinking and my life started getting more like conflicted. And I just thought, wow. It turned into like, wow, this is nice. I can numb out. I don't, then I can deal with going home and, whatever's going on in the home, and it takes two, but, it was a pretty, it was an emotional kind of thing going on there at home. And so it just started sticking. And like, I started just going over to my neighbor's house before dinner time after work. And then we moved on to the harder stuff.
So basically, your alcoholism progressed Like you
Yes.
you started off socially, because as a counselor, I always like to like reiterate, make sure I'm hearing, reflecting the right way, right? So you started off in your 30s, just really just having fun with it, just socially. It didn't taste good to you, but you was like, man, everybody else is doing it. Let me just go ahead and do a little bit too.
Yeah.
Then it becomes like, oh wait, the body becomes like, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
It might not taste good, but it definitely feels good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then once you get that feel good, once the body starts feeling good, man, it's almost impossible to stop. What caused you to stop? How did you stop? That kind of good stuff. What led to recovery? What was your road to recovery?
Well, my world to recovery, well, it took about 5 years. Once I realized I had the problem, I realized I had it, but I still at that point didn't want help. So my first initial round with finally going into rehab, like I went into meetings, I started seeing
Mm-hmm.
therapists, but I was drinking before the meeting, after the meeting, like
You wasn't ready. You
wasn't
wasn't ready.
ready. Went to my first rehab in 2016. That was around May. And again, that was kind of a forced in thing. The family was just
Tired of it. They put hey, I'm washing my hands of
like,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to go somewhere. Like we can't handle this anymore. So again, I went not willing, stayed in a sober living for a little bit, came home. I'm drinking on the plane home. They
Wow.
picked me up. I'm already drinking. If over the next few years, I ended up, then by the end of that year, though, getting divorced, starting the process, met somebody else through the rooms and just kept going. So for the
Mm-hmm.
next 3 years, I was in and out of 4 more rehabs. I went multiple hospital trips.
Wow.
Yeah, my body did not do well with the drinking because for the short amount of time that I did it, not really, I mean, short, but compared, some
Mm-hmm.
people go the
Oh
whole
man,
life,
lifetime. Yes.
right, and don't have like some of the repercussions that I had.
Right.
But again, I mean, I was to the point where I was drinking 24/7, like
Wow.
just because I had to keep it in me.
You was waking up, going to sleep.
Yep. Yep. Going, I mean, I had a job, professional job. I was at lunch. I was driving over to like an area to drink at lunch just to get the shake.
Wow. So was you able to still maintain your actual life, your lifestyle, jobs, everything and have an addiction?
I was for quite a long time, and no one knew I was hiding it. And again, that was another expectation. Everybody was like, "Oh, look at her! She has the house, the daughter, the well-behaved daughter, the job." And little did they know I was, going home and drinking in the closet because I didn't really have it all. I was like inside, I was dying
Yeah.
and a mess. So that was tough. So I did maintain it for a while until that, like I said, till that first rehab and then I came out and I got worse. And then I wasn't working at the time. I was just drinking. And I mean, when you're hiding the bottles and then I'm drinking before you go out so people don't know how much you really had to drink. So you can have a few when you're out, others would say that was, hiding it,
Right.
collecting the bottles, taking them out to somewhere else to get rid of them when nobody was home. And,
Wow.
so this is why like a lot of people really didn't pick up on how much I was drinking for a while. And I was able to maintain a job for a while. So I'm out of the house. I'm with somebody else, and my drinking is now I'm not working. So now it's really
Out of control. Yes.
out of control. Again, drinking just to at this point, I'm not even enjoying it for the
Right.
taste.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to get my gallbladder out. There was a time, speaking of, because I'm pretty strong on stigma, but that I was in a hospital and treated really poorly. And so the next time I tried to stop, I did it on my own, and that didn't end well. I was seeing things. It was like people were in my house, like smoking and cooking dinner.
Wow.
And yeah, so he rushed me then to the hospital. I didn't come out of that for like 2 weeks. They weren't really even sure if I was going to come out of that because I tried to detox. And little did I know you can die from that, detoxing from
Absolutely.
alcohol. Oh yeah, I had it all. I mean, I was like, I got to get out of here. I was ripping like the IVs out. I'm like, I'm going to dinner with Aaron Judge. Like they're like, is she? They're like,
Right. You was delusional.
I was very delusional, very delusional. So
So what happened? I mean, how'd you snap back? Because you look amazing now, by the
thank
way.
you. Thank you.
Happy 5 year, anniversary, because I
Thank
know
you.
that's a
Yes.
huge deal. And having however many times I can say that again, I will again and again. Because one thing about addicts, we love to be, celebrated. It's better to be celebrated than tolerated, right? So what led to just like what was the final straw?
The final straw, there was like two things, but the final straw was in 2019 in February. I was going down to visit my parents in New Jersey. At that point, I had like a not very good relationship with my daughter. And she was at the age, she was sick of it, and I don't blame her. It's very toxic. So
Right.
so she just had to remove herself, and that's totally like very adult like of her to know that. But of course, it tore me up. So she's at the age where she's looking at colleges. I happen to see that as I'm driving down at like I stop somewhere and that she's doing that with somebody else in the family, not me. I stop at a liquor store. I buy some liquor to take down. Well, it never made it there. So I ended up drinking it. Somebody called in that I was, they thought I was sick,
Mm-hmm.
some medical emergency. Well, the cops got behind me on the parkway in New Jersey. And for the next 30 some minutes, I took them on this chase.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
On and off the parkway. I went like straight through like one of those roundabouts. They had me stopped a few times and I got out of it. Like I rammed their police vehicle. It was by the end of that, I wouldn't get out of the vehicle. I guess they had to break the window to get me out.
What?
Yeah, and I don't remember any of this. This is all just from reading the reports, and people telling me what happened. And so I did all that in a blackout for 34 minutes. I was looking at like 15 different charges along with assault on a state trooper.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was looking at like 1 to 5 years
Ooh.
state prison at that time. Yes. So right there was the grace of God.
Yes, God showed up for you for sure.
Yes, he did. He did.
Because most people would have went to jail with some of that, just a piece of that story. For a person like me, I'll be doing this podcast from jail.
I was lucky that I was very blessed and lucky and grace of God. So that was in February. Now I didn't get sober till May, but so I still drank, because my daughter's still not talking to me. Now I don't know what's going to happen to me. I'm like a mess thinking I'm going, away. What happened was I went to jail for one night. While I was still down there in New Jersey, they called me back to the station, talked to me, went into jail for a night. It's a no bail state. The next day after the judge, whatever, saw the case, I came out and then my case didn't come up for like another year and a half. So I had all that on my mind, but still like it was like, okay, how much further down can I go? Even though I still continued to drink a few more months, I just finally, what happened is I went back-to-back hospital trips at the end of April from drinking too much and taking some of my medicine, anxiety medicine. Again, not realizing it. I wasn't intentionally trying to kill myself, but that's what they thought. So I go away to my last rehab. That was probably the worst one I was at, but I was serious this time, and I did the work. I said, listen, I'm here to work. I need to save my life. I need work to do, and I needed a good aftercare. So when I was laying in that bed before I headed to that rehab, I just gave it up to God. I had grown up in a Christian household. I did go to church. I was saved. I was with Jesus. But I kind of, in those years that I was drinking, kind of put that to the side because I knew what I was doing was wrong, and it wasn't a godly thing. And so I finally just said, okay, I'm done. God, please, I don't want to live like this anymore. Like, I just don't. I'm giving it up to you. Whatever I need to do, I need you. And I get chills. And from that day on, like I have not really had a craving at all. Like, I mean, and I never would have imagined that.
Prayer.
Like how stuck I was in that, like that I would even be able to go 5 minutes, without drinking. And let me tell you, I mean, I did a lot of work as well. I stayed in that rehab. I came out to an aftercare and a therapist, and I went 48 sessions, there. And then like within 2 months of that, I started up my schooling again to become in the drug and alcohol addiction field, got my certified recovery specialist, got my associate's degree, and then went on to get my bachelor's.
Hello.
Yeah, in addiction.
I'm clapping that up because I'm telling you, we do not celebrate our victories enough.
No.
Man, you've been through a lot. a lot that you put, it was self-inflicted, but damn,
Hmm.
you made it through. I'm very proud of you. I love your story.
I did.
So what are some of the things that you use in your recovery to help you stay on track?
So what I use is prayer, devotionals.
I love prayer. Prayer is that's today's secret word, guys. When you hear prayer, clap, scream, do whatever real loud. Just anybody that says prayer to you today,
Yes.
clap and be happy. Put a big smile on your face because prayer not only changed her, it changed me, and it changed a lot of people.
Hmm.
So prayer is a big deal. Would you think?
Yes, a very big
Yes.
deal.
Yes.
So I think immersing myself, into the school and the learning, but the devotion, start my day with the devotional. I'm in constant prayer with God all day long. We just talk all
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Um, so that's huge. Exercise.
Exercise. Oh my God. You you're talking everything I talk in my daily practice. These are healthy recovery ingredients. So go ahead, keep going. I'm
No, no, they're good. And, to get those endorphins, fill that time where you were drinking and, the habit of that and with healthier. And once you start doing that stuff, I feel that it makes it harder and harder to think about going back to that because you're feeling
yes,
so much better.
yes.
You're eating better. Like I said, you're doing the exercise, which gives you those endorphins and it's natural and it's healthier. You're staying in contact with God and your prayer and
Mm-hmm.
and also I think just being out there telling my story and not keeping it hidden and in the closet is also a very healthy part of my recovery. Like I work right now in the construction business. I work in a lumber yard, okay, at a sales desk. I've done that for the last 4.5 years, pretty much almost the whole time I've been in recovery. And let me tell you, that's a tough world, and
Yeah, I mean,
especially a woman.
that's a man's world.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, and I knew nothing of the industry. So that first year I was trying to get sober and I was having all this like negativity thrown at me
Mm.
at the job, not from the people at the job, but like the construction workers and stuff. And let me tell you, my anxiety would have in the past, had I not learned how to deal with that,
You'd be
driven me probably.
drinking
Yes, yes. So like it doesn't like also I don't want to give the impression like okay I just did this and then everything was great. I mean life
no,
happens
right.
and I've had a lot. I mean my case didn't come up for a year and a half. So that whole time, I'm not drinking, but I'm also knowing I could be going to prison, for 1 to 5 years. I think when my case finally did come up, going back to that, and I had a good lawyer, but when my case came to the end and the final judgment, the judge did say, yes, you had a good lawyer, but he's like, you did the work. And I
Yes,
rarely see this. Like I wasn't court mandated to anything to do any of that. I just did it on my own because I was sick of it.
right.
And he's like, I don't often see this. He goes, so I'm going to say to you, you did the work. Congratulations. And I don't want to see you back here.
Oh, that's big.
And so I got a year probation.
Oh yes, that's huge. That don't happen often.
Yeah.
They usually make you go through like diversion, a whole bunch of
Mhm.
classes they make you do, but you did it
I
already.
did it already.
So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. On my own.
So were there any relapses in the recovery process?
Not since then. I mean, prior to,
Okay.
yes, I had
Hmm.
short bouts of recovery. One time, right after I had pancreatitis from the
Hmm.
drinking. Right after that, I stayed a couple months sober, just because that pain was, oh my gosh, horrible. And but I relapsed. I was like relapse city, for years. But I have not had any since that date.
I like that. I like that you said Relapse City. So that's gonna be your new name when I reach out to you. I'm gonna say, Jen, how's Relapse City?
Yes.
Relapse City, and the reason why I brought that up, it wasn't to like trigger you or anything, but
No.
my audience, a lot of the people that I service are new to recovery, and they are still in the
Mhm.
struggle stage. They don't believe that they can, achieve like some of the successes that you have. So I always like to talk about relapse because I believe relapse is a part of recovery as well. It's the strongest part of recovery because once you learn how to really just say no, like some of your story, like you said, man, you did it, you were messing up, going back and forth, but then one day you even went to a rehab that you didn't even like, you didn't care for the place at all, but you care for yourself more, and you like, man, I want this more than I want anything else.
Yes.
And that's where the breakthrough came through,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I'm super proud of you, man. That story is amazing. So what kind of work are you doing these days?
So these days, I mean, I'm still working there at the lumberyard, but I am in the process of getting my own business up and running,
Okay.
and I'm sober coach.
Okay.
And because I really, this is another part like that of my story. There's so many parts of it, but like when I was in that hospital that last time as well, and I had that, the come to Jesus talk, but I also had a lady come to me who was in
Mm.
peer recovery person, and it was the first
Mm-hmm,
time
mm-hmm.
somebody actually talked to me like there was nothing wrong with me, but like I wasn't bad.
They understood. They
Right,
understood.
right. Like
Yes.
she'd been there, okay? And she told me her
Mm-hmm.
story. And now she's sitting here with this job at the hospital, helping me. And I'm thinking, I can do that. I could be like, it wasn't like doctors, just yelling at me and like looking at me like, oh, yeah, here she is again. She's drunk again,
Right.
because that's how I was treated. And
Mm-hmm.
to the point I was afraid to go back. So like that's really big. So I believe peer support is huge. You can have all of the degrees, and trust me, I'm not putting down my education, but there's nothing like the peer support. We've been there.
I totally agree with you. I think that, peer support is like that lived experience.
Mhm.
And again, like I said when we first started, like addicts, people in recovery, we learn best from addicts
Mhm.
and people in recovery. So the peer support, I love, shout out to all the peer support people, because I look at those people as frontline workers. That's the front line, man. You deal with the patient and the addict in their rawest form.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a counselor, so I do the back end work. I help motivate you to keep you on track. But to get you just that first day on track, peer support is where that's that department. So shout out to those people. Shout out to you. Are you studying now to be like more peer support, or are you looking to be counselor?
I'm looking to just be more peer support. So I am looking to be that person that is going to help you, even if you're like no matter where you're at in the journey, okay, whether you're still drinking, maybe you're questioning your drinking, you're not sure, but you want to just talk it out, see what it would be like. You could be in your sobriety already, maybe 5 years in, and something's happening. You're hitting a rough patch, and you just need to reconnect with somebody to share that with you, and reiterate some of the things that you learned early on, and why that you are in recovery. I feel like I speak to everybody and anybody, but I feel since mine came on later in life, and I was like, I'm a woman, and
Right.
in my 30s and 40s, that I probably speak to those situations, those women population,
Better. Mhm.
a little clearer.
They'll understand you more.
Right.
They'll definitely understand you, because there's a lot of people that look just like me and you. Okay,
Mhm.
they have a story similar, but you're the first. I've been doing this work for a long time, but I rarely see people that enter the addiction world in later years. A lot of people did this 14, 15, and just get caught in the cycle. But you started later in life, and you ran through the gamut, but you made it through.
Yes.
And that's the biggest blessing. Like, people can learn from you. You know what I'm saying? I think that's, a great. So how can people follow you? Like, if they want to support your journey, how can they follow you?
Yes, so they can follow me. I have a Facebook group.
Okay.
It's Jen Alai Sober Coach.
Jen Alley, Sober Coach. I love this story. So go ahead. You got more social media links for us?
I also have I'm on LinkedIn, but I also have my own website. So and that is Jen Ally Sober Coach 23.com. And this is that's my website. And like I said, I really just want to help people. Okay. I want
Yes.
like, if you're out there and you're listening, um, and
Yes.
I don't relapse again. Yes, that is part of it. And you know what? Every time you come back from that to
Yes.
speak back on that, you get stronger. And I
Yes.
applaud people I know a lot of times you feel like you did it, something wrong, you relapse, now you're trying to come
Yes.
back. No, it is something to be applauded
I
that you're
love it.
at least getting back up and trying again. So please,
Hmm.
I mean, I want to help you. I've been through it.
Hmm. Hmm.
I know what works, what doesn't work. I have a lot of empathy, a lot of compassion.
Yes. I love those words. You know what I mean?
I just want to make it a little less, painful as I can for you. I wish I
And somebody did it for you, and someone
right.
did it for you. So it's just like it's part of just
I want to do it for you.
it's part of recovery is giving it back. So guys, make sure you tap in. If you need more information, I got
Yes.
her on speed dial, so I can actually
Yes.
get you to her. If you know what I'm saying. So I love it. I love it. I'm actually gonna invite you back here every quarter just because I want to check in with you and see how
Okay.
the journey's going, and if affirmations for recovery if we can help you. But before I let you go, like, what's your thoughts on journaling? Because this is like we do a lot of journaling in this space, and I just like that's one of my modalities that I use for
Mhm.
recovery for new people is journaling. So what's your thoughts on that?
I love it. I do love journaling. I never thought I would be a journaler, but that has also been a huge, even if it doesn't, doesn't scare you. You don't have to write like a whole page or a book every day. Just jot down a few things and maybe in the morning or at night. And you'll be amazed when you go back and look at some of the stuff. Like I love going back and looking at some of the stuff that you forget
Absolutely.
that you wrote down the struggles or like the highs. So like if you're having a bad day, you can look back and look at some of the things that you did get through and that you accomplished or
And how you did it and how.
and how.
That's
Right. And
important.
how.
It's important. So
Right.
for journaling for me,
Yes.
affirmations for recovery, I do a daily, it's a mission. Like it's really about unlearning and relearning, right? We got to learn how to process information better. We got to learn how to smile more because when we smile more, that's good energy, right?
Yes.
And you just in contrast to frowning, like when people are always mean and looking like it, having that stare at you, that's where to me that's where bad energy lives. I like to smile, I like to be happy, and for me journaling was a way for me to get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I was able to learn how to process how I was feeling,
Yes.
and I was learning how to see how what works for me and what doesn't, because recovery is individualized. It's not what's poison for me might be a cure for you,
Yes. Yep.
right? So you got to find what works for you, and through journaling, this is an amazing tool. So make sure you guys get this product exclusively. It's on Amazon. I have a link on my website, ericallenrecovery.shop, and there's also other recovery tools there that you can use because it's all about adding value to what you're doing in your recovery space. So, what would you say to somebody new in recovery? Like, give some advice for somebody new in recovery.
New in recovery. It gets better.
Yes,
It gets better.
yes,
It gets better. Just don't give up. Even if you have to take it
yes.
minute by minute.
Woo. I think you my soul sister because like either you read my script or me and you are say the exact same things because that's exactly how I talk to them. I say things like, guys, when you're really new in recovery, sometimes you have to take it one breath at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't worry about the next breath. Just worry about this breath right here.
Mm.
And you're clean. You haven't took any, mood altering or mind altering substances or alcohol or anything. So just live in that breath.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then it gets better because you'll learn how to take more breaths. And one day, a breath will turn into an hour, and an hour turns into a day, and then a day turns into a week, and a week, the
I
rest.
know. You celebrate it.
That's where recovery
Yes.
lives, okay? And we celebrate. So I love to celebrate it. I
Yes.
like, because we we do a lot when we damage ourselves through the recovery process. So a lot of us, when we get healthy and we get our sights on recovery, to me, I think that's the most important time to celebrate that because that in itself is a challenge. We got a world full of people that haven't woke up yet, right?
Yes, we
So
do.
when you wake up,
Yes.
we celebrate.
Yeah.
We celebrate. We celebrate. We celebrate. So, any final words for my audience? Like, what would you say? What would you leave the audience with? Words of advice, like somebody in recovery that's like just been struggling. They just can't get out the bed. They haven't figured it out right. What would you tell them?
Reach out. Reach out.
Yes. Woo.
Reach out to somebody. A peer. reach out to me.
Yes.
You have all the information for me.
Mhm.
Get to a meeting. I
Yes.
know you don't feel like it, even if you had even an online meeting. You'll feel much better connecting with other people like-minded,
Yes.
like you.
Yes.
And I mean, I can't explain it, but it's no it's no judgment.
Mhm.
Please just reach out.
Yeah.
Like I said, like you said, I say, take that next breath, make that move.
Positive and stay positive. Stay positive. And one thing she said one thing that she said that I really, really love and appreciate, man, prayer.
Yes.
Prayer is the answer to a lot of these things, and you have to believe. You have
Mhm.
to believe when you pray. Don't just do those cliche prayers where I'm praying because Jen told me to.
Right.
No. You're praying because you believe that it works and the Father is going to deliver.
Yes.
So prayer is amazing. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of prayer. That's one of the biggest things I use. Talk therapy is another
Mhm.
modality that I believe is important to the recovery process because a lot of people just want to be heard and they feel like, through being heard, you feel more appreciated and you're less likely to abuse yourself, right? So shout out to LIE Foundation. That's one of my main sponsors. OWWLL Al. I don't know if you heard about Al. Are you on Al, Jen?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, you're going to get on Al today because that is a new platform for today's working entrepreneur. And I promise you, it's a game changer. It's like my whole village lives there, like the recovery community. There is a recovery community there. There's other licensed clinicians and everything like that there. So today, that is your homework.
That is.
OWWLL. It's in the app stores, okay? And then when you download it, use the referral code EA.
All right.
Like that, and then that will get you $10 so you can use. I'm gonna be your first call because I'm gonna call you and I'm gonna let you know how to really, really maximize and navigate the Al platform. But it's a game changer. So trust me, okay?
Okay.
Yes. So guys, I appreciate everybody being here. Recovery is a huge deal. It makes the world go round. It's one of the oldest pandemics. It's been around as long as the world has been around. The need for recovery. And recovery is not a substance, guys. I just want to remind you, it's not a substance. It is a mindset. It starts in the mind. So then when you reprogram your mind, you can put that towards anything. You can put that towards alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever the case may be. Okay, it starts upstairs. I appreciate everybody for being here. Make sure you comment, like, do all that good stuff because that's how we drive the car.
Yes.
Feedback, support. It's an action word, guys. Okay. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Let's go.
Post-production is done with care by Ocean Tree Creative.